The president is still resisting calls to release his tax returns while complaining about immigration laws. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. President Trump has been resisting calls for over 3 years to release his tax returns. Last week, Trump said he would love to release them, but can't because of a fake audit that definitely does not exist. And he just kept repeating the same words over and over.
While I'm under audit, I won't do it. If I'm not under audit, I would do it. I had no problem with it. But while I'm under audit, I would not give my taxes. There's no law whatsoever. Now, I will say this. I would love to give them, but I'm not going to do it while I'm under audit. It's very simple.
Every time Trump answers a question, he sounds like a scientist insisting on giving a TED Talk despite a recent massive head wound.
A black hole is a hole that's black, and it's black because it's a hole where there's no light, because it's black and it's a hole, and that's why they call it a black hole. Dr. Trump, maybe we could finish this up tomorrow, but I haven't even gotten to the black hole part yet.
Also, this part right here is the best part.
Now, I will say this. I would love to give them, but I'm not going to do it.
He tees it up like he's about to switch gears and then just repeats himself again. It's like if you ask someone to marry you and they said, well, it's awfully soon and I'm a little afraid of commitment, but I will say this, no. Knowing that the audit excuse is a transparent lie, Trump has in the last few months moved on to a new excuse that his tax returns are too complicated for people to understand. That's what he said last year after Democrats won the midterms and gained the power to request them.
As I've told you, they're under audit. They have been for a long time. They're extremely complex. People wouldn't understand them. They're done by among the biggest and best law firms in the country. Same thing with the accounting firms. The accountants are a very, very large, powerful firm from the standpoint of respect. They're highly respected. Big firm. A great law firm, you know it very well. They do these things. They put them in. But people don't understand tax returns, and it is a very big company, far bigger than you would even understand. But it's a great company, but it's big, and it's complex, and it's probably feet high.
All right, first of all, I don't want to hear how big and complex it is from someone who also says it's feet high. Second, the only thing harder to understand than your tax returns is that answer. We need an audit just to figure out what the hell you're saying. Like, honestly, please, what does this mean?
A very, very large, powerful firm from the standpoint of respect.
Why does the President of the United States always sound like a spam email asking you for your Social Security number? Hello, I am with a very large, powerful firm from the standpoint of respect. Will you please send your bank routing number? For real? For real, maybe Congress would have more luck getting his tax returns if they just used his syntax in the request. Mr. President, some would say best president, we're writing to request your tax returns, are willing to send truck to pick up as they are so big, massive even, from your many large and successful businesses. Wow! We realize they will be very, very too complicated for us to understand as we are small from the standpoint of intelligence, but would be fun to see that.
Yeah. They make a very good case. I think we should send them over.
Now, the law is clear. Democrats have the power to request Trump's tax returns, which they did, and the request went to the IRS, not Trump. It's not up to him. And yet on Sunday, his press secretary, Sarah Sanders, insisted Trump would not turn them over, and she even took Trump's argument one step further, saying members of Congress were literally too dumb to understand them.
This is all about political partisanship. This is a dangerous, dangerous road. And frankly, Chris, I don't think Congress, particularly not this group of congressmen and women, are smart enough to look through the thousands of pages that I would assume that President Trump's taxes will be.
Okay, now this is what she wants. She's trolling us. She wants us to get all mad and riled up and point out all the ways that Trump is actually the idiot because that's their only move, to just take whatever we say about Trump and turn it back on us. And we're just too dignified for that. We will not stoop to her level, and I'm just kidding. Here's a bunch of dumb the president has said and done.
Our hope is a word and world. Through their lives, and though their lives, they sacrifice every day
for the furniture and future of their children. 10,000 known or suspected gang members. Nancy Pelosi, or Nancy as I call her.
What is that? What is, wait a second, is that toilet paper?
It's tremendously big and tremendously wet. We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple. China has total respect for Donald Trump and for Donald Trump's very, very large brain.
Very large a brain. Yeah, no, but we're too stupid to understand the tax returns of someone who is clearly suffering from what's known in the medical community as degenerative Italian stereotype disease. He'll start his next press conference by saying,
I use my very large brain, to make it a pizza pie.
Now, I will concede if Sanders is talking about the Republican members of Congress, then yes, some of them are not smart enough to understand Trump's tax returns, like the guy who vaped during a congressional hearing, or the guy who brought out a giant meme of Ronald Reagan riding a velociraptor and holding a machine gun, or the guy who brought a snowball onto the Senate floor to claim that global warming isn't real. But if you compare that to the Democrats, specifically the new class of freshman Democratic women who took office this year, it's different. Like California Congresswoman Katie Porter, a law professor and consumer advocate. Earlier this year, she grilled Trump's pick to lead the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Kathy Kraninger, who has no experience in consumer protection. Porter specifically asked her to explain the difference between an interest rate and an APR. Now, I don't know the difference. I looked it up 3 times this morning, and I still don't remember. And I can guarantee you, this guy doesn't understand it. But the director of the bureau that's in charge of protecting consumers from predatory lenders should absolutely understand it. And yet, when Porter asked Kraninger to explain the difference, Porter had to explain it to her.
Could you please explain to this committee the difference between an interest rate and an APR?
So the APR is the extrapolation if it were a one-year term.
Ms. Kraninger, the annual percentage rate, and I'll be happy to send you a copy of the textbook that I wrote, explains that the APR is derived from the finance charge, the amount financed, and the payment schedule.
Damn, she literally pulled out the textbook she wrote. That is every academic's dream. You don't know nothing about monarch butterflies. What? Oh my God, are you serious? I wrote the book on monarch butterflies. While Trump is resisting calls to release his tax returns, he's also been suggesting breaking the law when it comes to immigration. Now, here's what's going on. It's very simple. Trump hates the fact that migrants can legally come to this country and seek asylum. He's been whining about it for months, complaining that migrants have the right to make their case to a judge in a court of law with the help of a lawyer. And he did it on Friday and yet again today.
We have to do something about asylum, and to be honest with you have to get rid of judges. They have to get rid of the whole asylum system because it doesn't work, and frankly, we should get rid of judges. We have a stupid system of courts. It's the craziest thing in the world. We then have to ask them a couple of questions. Lawyers are telling them what to say. They read a little page given by lawyers that are all over the place. You know, lawyers. They tell them what to say. People come in, they read a line from a lawyer that a lawyer hands them out online. The asylum laws are absolutely insane. They're given a statement to read by lawyers that stand there waiting for them. Read this statement.
I think Trump is just upset that they can read prepared statements because he can't read prepared statements. Whenever he reads off a teleprompter, he magoos it. So he can't get rid of courts or judges or lawyers. So now Trump has moved on to a new idea, and he clearly thinks this new idea is a brilliant political maneuver that will turn the tables on Democrats. Trump said on Friday he wants to start sending migrants to liberal cities that would welcome them, or so-called sanctuary cities.
We are looking at the possibility, strongly looking at, to be honest with you. California, the governor wants to have a lot of people coming in, refugees coming in, a lot of sanctuary cities, so we'll give them to the sanctuary cities maybe to take care of. We'll bring them to sanctuary city areas and let that particular area take care of it. And let's see if they're so happy. They say we have open arms. They're always saying they have open arms. Let's see if they have open arms.
Man, Trump's press conference is so crazy, now the people standing behind him have to wear helmets and harnesses. You'll be standing behind the president? Thank you. So that's your brilliant chess moves, to send poor migrant families fleeing poverty and violence to cities that actually want to welcome them. This is one of the dumbest attempted trolls I've ever heard. We've all actively volunteering to take in more refugees, and Trump is like, oh, I know, I'll let them take in more refugees. That'll show them. It's like if a friend volunteered to pick you up from the airport and you were like, oh, yeah? Well, if you're so good at picking people up at the airport, then why don't you come pick me up at the airport? And you'd be like, okay, I'll see you at the airport. Whether it's on immigration or tax returns, there's one consistent theme in Trump's behavior. He just doesn't think the law applies to him. The Constitution grants people, including immigrants, certain inalienable rights, and it also gives Congress the power to investigate the president. But Trump can't seem to get that through his
A brain.
This has been A Closer Look.